Good afternoon. My name is George Allin, and welcome to everyone online and in person to one of our regular weekly live-streamed reflections. If you're visiting around the church, please do feel to continue to walk around. Looking back at a couple of news stories this past week. This week, for millions of people across the Americas, it's been an opportunity to witness a total solar eclipse. A breathtaking and rare sight indeed. The next time that people in that part of the world will be able to witness this event again will be 2044. And even then, it will be across an entirely different path. Only once every 400 years does a solar eclipse reach the exact same spot. So rare and precious is this phenomenon, requiring the precise lining up of the paths of the sun, the moon, and the earth, such that the moon perfectly covers up the sun from the view of the earth. It's incredible, really, that it's even possible. And it certainly isn't a sure deal. And our planet Earth is one of the few places where it happens. Because, just by chance, as it would seem, the sun is roughly 400 times bigger than the moon, and, at the same time, roughly 400 times further away from the Earth than the moon is. And even then, we are lucky to be alive in the relatively short period of time in our planet's history when this is even observable. As the moon is moving very slowly away from the Earth a little bit each year, it will eventually reach a point where it is no longer possible for it to fully eclipse the sun. It means it's an amazing combination of factors which allows us to witness this awesome event. What does it all really mean? You may just think it's a pretty light show, and it certainly is beautiful. But I propose there is something much deeper going on. Most immediately, it provides a rare opportunity for groundbreaking scientific research. A plethora of research on the ground here, tracking how nature reacts to a shock darkness. Bees have been observed suddenly rushing back to their hives. Oddly, tortoises suddenly began mating at a much higher rate. Meadowlarks silenced their calls, whereas sparrows sang in much higher numbers. We don't really know much about why any of this happens. But the research continued looking up to the sky. In fact, the discovery of the sun's atmosphere was only made possible during a solar eclipse, the only time when telescopes at that point could be safely pointed towards the sun. And this last Monday, NASA continued this, following the path of the eclipse in an aircraft, attempting to observe anything orbiting the sun, any dust or asteroids, which may usually be obscured by its light. So, a great opportunity for science, but also an impact on the millions of people who saw it. To witness such an awe-inspiring event, bigger than all of us, it can leave a lasting impression. In Dr. Dasher Keltner's book, Awe, he looks at his research at the University of Berkeley in California. He showed people a video of an awe-inspiring astrological event, and then others a more mundane task like painting a garden fence, and found that in asking them the same questions, those who had watched the awe-inspiring event answered with much more humility. Makes a lot of sense if we think about it. Accepting that we are part of something bigger, underneath the same sun which doesn't know any borders or wealth, experiencing life alongside billions of others. It gives us a perspective that the world isn't really ours to control. As Christians here at St. Peter Mancroft, we believe that all humans are made in the image of God, that every life, every person, deserves to be shown equal love and respect. Because when we've been given this awesome gift of life, it is not for us to presume we are more important than anyone else. Together, we must all play our part in looking after each other, all being stewards of the same creation. You may have also seen another equally striking but a slightly more bizarre headline this week. The president of Botswana threatened to send 20,000 elephants to Germany. This is in response to the German government supporting legislation to restrict trophy hunting, where tourists would pay a rather healthy sum to hunt, kill, and bring back an animal, in this case elephants. At first, this may seem a fairly standard thing to oppose, but there were some legitimate concerns raised. After great conservation efforts, Botswana is now home to 1/3 of the world's elephants, some 130,000. But they have reached capacity and require both a means of controlling this now flourishing elephant population and funding protections for people, buildings, infrastructure, where elephants can be so dangerous. They are indeed herd animals used to travelling large distances for water. And if they find that water in some public plumbing, well, they won't hesitate to break through to access it. The ethics of trophy hunting as a solution aside, there's a clear problem presented here that a massively successful conservation programme, which I think most of us would commend, can't just be left to one country. If they are forced to bear the added cost themselves, then we are discouraging future nations from taking on similar programmes. It is a globe we all inhabit together. Here, as Christians, we believe a gift of creation we all share. And I'm sure that not everybody who saw the eclipse this week will have had a major epiphany, a life-changing moment. But I think I'm fairly equally confident that some will have had just that. A greater appreciation of our shared role, our shared responsibility to the planet and to each other. So, hopefully next time we think that maybe we'll just leave it to somebody else, or that we're all right by ourselves, really. Perhaps we can take a moment to remember that awe of the magnificence of the universe and be encouraged to play our part in supporting it. Thank you for listening.